Hey YouTube, dug out one from the vaults. This is a godin LG. I think it might be, the model might be an lgxt, but not sure. I got this in a trade a few years ago, and I always quite fancied a godin, just because they're relatively sort of high end. They're sort of funny market. These are Canadian. I've actually bought a couple since this one, but they weren't as good as this one, so they didn't last. I had a blue one which was called, I think it might have been an LG as well. It was a bit more stratty though. It had a scratch plate. It didn't have this neck join, and it had like a humbucker. I think it had a Seymour Duncan humbucker actually, and then two single coils. It was sort of blue with a mother toilet seat scratch plate. A little bit more stratty than this. This is more of a sort of Les Paul Junior, sort of, but not really. Just really in shape wise. And another one I had was sort of strat like it kind of looked like if you like a modern Schecter, you know, Diamond series, sort of like a Strat, but it's got a carved top and you didn't have a scratch plate and stuff like that. It was made of very fancy wood. It had active EMG single coils in it, and I just didn't really like that guitar at all. I don't know what it was about it. It looked nice in a picture, but there was something about it was just pure. Nope, it wasn't made of fancy wood. So this one is quite a basic guitar, but this is my P90 guitar. This is why. That's how I managed to justify keeping it. So these, I believe, were made in Canada, and quite often, so the other ones I had said made in Canada and the USA, or I can't remember exactly how it was worded, because what I think we did was they made the body and the neck in Canada, and then it got shipped to America, and in America they put the hardware on and then finished it off, therefore getting around some sort of tax loophole, because they weren't actually importing guitars into America, they were just importing parts, that being the body and the neck, you know, the important bit. So that's why it fitted with Seymour Duncan. So this has Seymour Duncan P90s in it, which I was a wee bit annoyed to find out that they're not hum cancelling, they're both the same. So I can't put my special switch in, which gives you a bit of humbucker. Sounds pretty good on its own though. This guitar has a really thin, small, fast neck, and it's kind of, it's got a wee slightly wobbly output on it. It's kind of like a mad unfinished or stained, I don't really know what you would call it. It's a bit sticky. I'm going to give it a bit of a clean, see if I can maybe unstick it. I might actually get some, I've actually found some pledge the other day. I might give it, maybe if I pledge it, and then I think the output would be a bit less, because you can actually feel the grain of the wood through the finish, which is a bit strange. It's also got funny fret markings that are just kind of on the top, but the important ones are around on the end, and they are there, so I can still play this no problem. This has in previous life had a neck repair before I got it, but whoever it was fixed it, did a good job. The only thing is, it's a little bit, if you look up round about the side, you can see where it's been cracked. I don't think the head was ever completely off. It looked like a snap off, and I made this truss rod cover. I had the original truss rod cover, but it was split in half where the screw went through, so I drew around it, and I made it out of a slightly, that's annoying, I made it out of a slightly too thick piece of wood. It was actually at the back of an old acoustic. It looks a little bit shit up close, but it's my guitar, so I don't really care. Mad features about this guitar is, well, first thing you notice is these mad grooves, and it's like, what are they for? Is that just to make it look good? And it's not. The reason for that is because look how close, how flush the neck sits with the body. It's like really, you know, the fretboard's only a couple of mil above the body, and then the P90s are almost flush, and then this bridge, because of that, has to be recessed in the way, and these grooves are so that when the strings go into the holes in the back for the through-strung Telecaster type, well, such a metal bar it goes into, is to give it more, to give it so you can get the right break angle, which I quite like it. I like the engineering aspects of it. I don't like this anymore. While I'm talking, I'm going to mute it. To be honest, I think this, when I got this, it had a noisy volume pot, a noisy tone pot, and a noisy jack. I'm not sure the electrics in it are super high quality. The guy who bought it off was complaining about the tuners, but I think they're quite cool. They're just non-branded. They've got sort of black buttons on them, and they seem fine. Is that a heart or scarf joint there? Oh, there is a serial number. It's stamped in, not printed on. 000444136. Don't know. I don't know. I'll type it into. I'll have to look it up. Maybe about 2000 or something. I really don't know. I don't think it's that old a guitar. Yeah. So 3-bass switch, volume and tone. That's kind of it. But it's just this mad. The fact that the strings are so close to the top of the body, it gives it a really sleek feel. It feels much faster and dead easy. I mean, it's also 24 frets, which is kind of strange for a P90 sort of Les Paul Junior-y sort of looking thing. I always think Godin guitars look really odd. They're always slightly sort of melty looking, and that's what this is. You know, basically, I think it's basically a Les Paul Junior, but this comes out a bit further than it should, and this cuts in a bit further than it should. I think if you move this out here and then move this back to here, you'd end up with an LP Junior. Yeah, sort of make some noise with it. I was almost trying to get I've got my old laptop fixed and back, and I'm going to try and I've got a new program for recording these things. I might be able to do some editing, but it failed. I spent an hour trying to set up the camera, and it doesn't like my camera. It was all jerky. It was really annoying. So I'll be advancing that a little bit coming up. I just fancied I wanted to do this to get it out. It's now coming up to almost dinner time. Yeah, so playing through my usual Laney VC15 3x12 cabinet. I think I'm going to do a video shortly of the Softtek. I don't know if I've ever done one. This is my favourite amp in the universe. Because I'm now playing this through this cabinet, I'm not really sure why I'm still using this. Because I mean, this one does have an awful lot more knobs on it, 2 channels and stuff, but I never use any of the stuff that's on it. Whereas this is just 1 channel and it's just on. And because I've got this, my super pedal board plugged in, I can just just use a clean sound in that, and it'll probably be fine. I do like this wee Laney though. It's kind of yeah. So I've now added into my pedal board. I've shunted things about a little bit, so I've now got so many more pedals that I don't use. I put my Metal Master, Micro Metal Master muff pedal back. Micro Metal muff pedal back in the loop, like literally in the loop, because these ones here are not true bypass. So I think the Boss is buffered, so I've got a loop that kind of bypasses all of these ones. So I just put it in there because I keep doing relatively heavy metal guitars. Like I've got an 8-string there, and I've done a few for other customers, and it's like, even though I'm not really that into the metal sound, it does work when you've got like really high powered pickups and stuff rather than the sort of more classic-y rock and 60s fuzz sounds that I normally use. It's nice to have a bit of rug-a-dug. I'll turn off the... Here we go, just clean. The strings on this are years old. I gave them a bit of a scrape. They're elixirs though, so they should be alright. They just look a little bit shit. So, neck pickup, clean. It's a wee bit buzzy, this guitar. The action is just slightly too low for me. Press pickup. But quite high output pickups, these ones, because that's actually distorting the amp on the clean channel. Turn it down a wee bit, that's being set at 9. Neck as well. Both of them. Mess about with this again. I will eventually get faster maybe. Actually, I think it sounds a wee bit better when you just roll the volume back a little bit. Bit of distortion for my washburn stack in a box. Altogether too similar a jam to what I was doing yesterday on whatever guitar it was I was playing yesterday. Go a bit more rap pedal, I think. 24th fret because it's there. Not very many guitars I've got a 24th fret. I think what I'll do in future when I'm doing so I'm going to try and put different rhythm tracks in a bit more. I keep being in A and E, not accident and emergency, A and E. Hopefully I don't have to go there. But and you know those chords. I think if I'm playing a 24th fret, I should maybe be playing an F sharp, because that means I've got to actually get the notes up there that are really useful in the 24th fret. Because in A and E, you know what I mean. It's like the 22nd is the highest you can do without really pushing it. I don't know. That's not very technical, is it? Yeah. So I haven't actually finished my usual routine, which I've now going to try and do a bit. Not finished talking about the guitar before I start playing it there. So things I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh it. I would have said it's quite light. So my guesses are this weighs 3.6 kilos. Hang on to that. That's good enough. Oh, 3.66 kilos. I'm getting good at this just because it was a Strat I was playing the other day that weighed that, and I figured I think 3.6 is about normal for a guitar. I think you're maybe slightly heavier than what you'd expect. You'd maybe expect this to be about 3.5. I normally do the pickups as well. Can I be bothered? Does anyone really care? I suppose I'll do it anyway. Where's the? Oh. Pinch it quickly. I can find the leads I was using to test the pickups. I was actually thinking of making a wee box that I can stick these two prongs in, and then plug the guitar into. You know, just like basically a box with a guitar jack and two prongs for sticking this in, so I can measure the pickup strengths an awful lot quicker, not strength, measure the ohmages. Right, so, well, I didn't expect that. Neck bridge pickup is 14.3, neck pickup is 10.9. So that's actually quite a high ohmage rating, although an awful lot of people seem to think that ohmage really does count for something. I don't think it really does, because I've had very loud pickups that were really low images. I've also had sort of muddy pickups that were high, but I think P90s I would have expected them to be about 8, seeing as they're single coils. It's a Gibson scale, 24 3/4. I was almost going to definitely say it was definitely a Strat scale, but that might be because something to do with the fact it's a 24 fret neck, which is makes it feel longer. Also, the cutaway is very in there, so it's actually angled a wee bit in this bit here to get a good high access. So I think the neck maybe perhaps comes into the body an awful lot more than it would a normal guitar. Also, this fact that I can't go over how close to the body the strings are. You know, you can rest your palm totally on the guitar without having any raisedness to it. Yeah, so that'd be my godin. So I'm kind of, I'm mad into my Japanese guitars. So it's like the ones I generally buy and keep myself are between sort of 1978, 79 and about 1985. So between 80 and 84 is my prime target area, but I've got a few stragglers before and after, because the Japanese guitars are awesome. But I do also have the occasional oddball in my collection, being this one. I think, there's so many things if this didn't have, I'm keeping it because it's gold, which is cool. Anyway, I don't know how well it's shown up there. It's not a particularly sparkly gold, but it's gold, which is cool. I like these grid things. It's got a nice design, and that combined with the sort of really low profile of the strings to the body makes it feel really different. And it's got P90s in it, so there's my excuses for keeping it. Also, godin are they're not as cheap as I thought they were. I was looking in Merchant City Music, and they had a couple of nice Godins, but they were like 900 quid. It's like, oh. You can get this era quite cheap. There's one called, I think it might be called a Radiator, which has got like a whole faceplate mother of pearl, and it's pretty ugly. But you get one that's yellow and it looks quite cool. A similar sort of thing to this. They can be had for not an awful lot of money, you know, like 200-300 quid. I actually saw one of these for sale, I don't know, 6 months ago on eBay, and it went for 120 quid, and the headstock was clean off it, and it had no hardware. So it's obviously still got some design on it. I don't think the headstock's not been completely off on this one. You can sort of see the split on the side where it's cracked here, so it's obviously a bit of a weak point with its angled back headstock on these. Seeing as I've only ever really noticed seeing two of them, and they both had broken headstocks. But I thought it was mad to spend 120 quid for, because you wouldn't be able to use any other type of neck on this guitar because it's 24 fret, and I'd imagine it's a funny shape, and it's probably a different depth of heel on it to try and get it low into the body. So again, I would, if we weren't on hiatus in the bands with this Corona thing, I would be taking this into Cranking House and cranking it up. So I think I'll spend this evening playing this. I also think one of the reasons I keep it is because it feels different. It doesn't feel really like any other guitar I've got. A lot of that's to do just with this recessed neck type thing, and the neck is it's kind of like a really thin strap neck sort of thing. It's not what you would expect in a Gibson. It might even be made of funny wood, because Godins tend to be, you know, like wood you wouldn't normally, like oak and laburnum. I'm just running off different types of trees you get here. You know, it's like sort of chestnut and not these ones, but odd ones. You know what I mean? All sort of funny woods. The reason I actually wanted a Godin was because of a video I watched on YouTube of Robert Godin, as the owner, walking about the factory, which is kind of up in the mountains of Canada, and he was just standing outside the factory going, yeah, so there's pointing at this warehouse, this is where the wood's all getting, you know, dried and aged and all that. This is the bit where the sawmill bit, and it's like, and that hill there, and no, that one, the one just behind it, that's where we grow all the wood that makes the necks. And then it's like, see if you look on the other side of that loch, or it would be a lake, I suppose it's in Canada. It's like, oh, there, that's where that's where X type of wood's grown for bodies, and then these ones over here are just growing just now, and the ones over there are, you know, like for the semi-acoustics are just like great, the way that the whole thing was just built in like this local area for pure super economy. They're not shipping shit all over the world before they make it. They're making it from stuff that you can buy within a 10-minute walk of the factory, which I always liked. I really fancy doing that here. I'd love to do that in Scotland, you know, make guitars that come from up, you know, a couple of miles up the road, and guitar wood's a funny thing. I mean, people just want maple and mahogany and ash, and it's like, I don't think it really makes so much difference. Maybe slight subtle differences to the sound, but it's definitely not a better one or a worse one. I mean, I've made guitars at kitchen worktops and stuff like that, and I was playing an MDF Strat a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, if MDF sounds alright, then how can it really make much difference? I don't think that applies to acoustics. I think acoustics, you know, you can get quite a different sound if you've got an all maple acoustic compared to an all rosewood acoustic. There's a huge difference in sound. But on a guitar, on an electric guitar, I think it's basically, provided the strings are vibrating freely and you've got the pickups in it, there's your sound. There's obviously an element of what you're hearing coming off the guitar, like just now, the unplugged sound, which although it might not be very loud, even when I've got it cranked up, you're still hearing that coming off the other frequencies that the amplifier doesn't amplify. Kind of like the same as my argument about records. Part of the definition of records is actual sound that's generated by the needle. The amp doesn't, the really high frequencies, the amp doesn't amplify them. It's out with its range, but they are still there. So even though it's quite quiet, and it's like, you can still hear that, you know, the frequencies you can't hear, but they're there and you can feel they're there, which is why records sound better than CDs, in my opinion. Kind of a bit the same as like if you go and see a drummer, like a band, you will hear the cymbals and the drums don't sound. I've never heard them sound like that on records. When you're there, you know, you can feel it in your chest, and that's all these frequencies that they don't bother because you can't hear them. They're there though. You can feel them, sort of. Like if you take them away, they're gone. I'm just talking absolute piss now, aren't I? So, rock on. I went and did a shopping today to try and I'm going to try and do another 3 days without going to the shop. And they had Bucky. Oh, they stopped making Bucky. Yes. So I don't know what's going to go on. I bought a couple of bottles just in case. Apparently they're not going to ration it or up it. I'd imagine some complete bastards are sitting there buying boxes of Bucky, and if it does actually run dry in a month's time, they'll be selling bottles of Bucky for 15 quid and stuff like that, and folk will be buying it because there's no substitute. But to be fair, don't really drink it that much anymore. I still like it. It's still my drink of choice, but I don't need to drink. Go Dan! Go Dan, go Dan. Catch you later.